My name's Andrew Zelm. I'm one of the trombone players in LowDown Brass Band.
My name is Matthew Davis, and I also play trombone for LowDown Brass Band.
Yeah, we're missing our third member, Raphael Crawford, also a longtime member of the band, LowDown Brass Band, and a great writer, and knows a ton about gear. I wish he was here right now.
So, in most bands you have a bass player and a guitar player, keyboard player, singer, and a drummer. But since we're all horns, each section kind of fills a different part. So the trumpets are going to be more like the lead guitar, the sousaphone acts like the bass, and then the trombones is pretty much like the rhythm guitar. So we have 3 trombone players so we can fill out that whole chord.
Yeah, actually I just want to add to that, many times, like we've played shows and people in the audience have been like, I hear guitar, but I don't see guitar. So that's kind of cool.
Trombones, yeah.
It's usually our part. I think we all individually have very different tones, which is one of the cool things about the trombone. You can really stretch the limits of how you want it to sound. But when we come together as a group collectively, we know how to blend really well and become one coherent sound. So I play a King 2B Plus. It's part of the King family. It's a really classic jazz trombone. It's kind of I don't want to say the standard, but maybe the godfather of the jazz trombone. They've been making these for decades, and a lot of the newer horns are kind of based off this original model. But there's 3 3 popular King jazz trombones. There's the 2B, which is the smallest. There's the 2B Plus, what this is. It's kind of slightly bigger than a 2B. It has a slightly bigger slide. It's 500 bore on both sides of it. The 2B is actually, they're different sizes, but this one's the same throughout. And then the bell is a 7 3/8 bell. I got this nice rose gold, but you can tell my horn is not that old. I think it's only I bought it used, but it's about 15 years old probably. So it looks like it could be 30 years old, but I think just the way my hands are, it really eats away at the lacquer, and it's getting really worn down here, stuff there. And then the bell is it's going. So in a matter of years, it'll probably be all gone. You could get it stripped, but I'm going to take my time with it. And then I have this little leather protector, which is cool. And all that does is protects the horn and myself from the brass eating away slowly because it rests on your neck all the time. When I was younger, early 20s, I played a Bach trombone for quite a few years, but I always had my eye on the King. I always wanted to get a King. And then actually another ex-member of the band, Steve Duncan, who's also another horn aficionado, he resells horns all the time. So I bought this horn from him I think around 2007, and it's been great ever since. So I've actually bought other King trombones here and there over the years, but then I always just go back to this one because I just love it. It's perfect for me.
My name is Matthew. I play on a Canstel 1606, and it's a 500 bore slide and an 8-inch bell with gold brass, and it's based off of this old horn called a Williams, which was supposed to be a classical horn, which is a lot bigger than a jazz horn, but they wanted it to be more of a jazz size. So the interesting thing about this horn is it feels and plays like a big symphonic horn, but it's actually small, so it's a lot more agile. And the other thing about it, it's extremely light, which is very interesting with a horn like this. And I just find that with this horn I can get a very big centered sound, but I don't have to work that hard to play it. So it's a lot about efficiency for me. Andrew was talking about this cat, Steve Duncan, who used to play in LowDown Brass Band, and I went over to Steve's house, probably took 4 or 5 trombones home with me just to try out. Most of them were cons. I had my eye on a con trombone, and then at the end of the night he said, "Matt, take this Canstel home and try it out." And I asked him the prices of all of them, and this was by far the most expensive. I was like, I'm not gonna get this one. And I took him home and I played this one, and I just had to have it just because it was by far the best playing and the easiest feel. So
yeah, so everyone in LowDown Brass Band, all the brass players are now officially endorsed by AR Resonance. There's our logo right there, LDB, and on the other side it says Resonance. And they're kind of taking over. They came on the scene I think about maybe only a couple of years ago, this this guy out in Italy who's making these, and Antonio. And these two cats in Chicago, Luke Malevich and Chad McCullough, you know, they kind of brought the mouthpieces here, and then just throughout the jazz scene and the horn scene, the freelance scene, they're just like, they're catching on like wildfire. Everyone's getting them. And I mean, one, I think they're beautiful, and two, they look beautiful and they sound really amazing, and they're really like easy to play once you kind of get the technique down of how to get through them. So I've never been a gear guy, honestly. I've pretty much played just like the standard Bach mouthpieces up until this point, and then you know, over the years you try one, you try to get into it, and you're just like, man, I don't know, I'm just gonna go back to the Bach, right? But then this came around, and it's just like, wow, this is the magic. So I think it's amazing that we get to work with the company and play them with our music and spread it around.
Well, besides the AR Resonance being extremely good sounding and comfortable to play, they're completely customizable. So all of the specs, from the rim size to the cup to the backbore to the throat, you can change the size of all of them. You can also make them out of different materials. Most of them are made out of brass. You can make them out of bronze. You can make them out of stainless steel. You can put different finishes on them, and it's kind of like the Ferrari of mouthpieces. Like, it's totally custom, and they are just amazing. So
yeah, so we'll play it a little bit. Sweet, yeah, we'll play, this is a trombone part off of one of our, you know, good tunes called You Know Me. One, two, three.
with LowDown Brass Band, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and check us out in a city near you.
And the new single coming out on May 3rd is Dem Boys.